Hi folks, and welcome back to another allotment update. You join me at the end of a very long day. It's about 6 o'clock on a Sunday. I'm really behind on my video editing. I've got one that I haven't even edited from last weekend yet, and I guess we'll go straight into it. The reason I'm not, behind on the editing and that kind of thing is I'm just not really feeling it. I'm not really enjoying the allotment that much, and I tried to touch on this in a recent video and I did a really poor job of explaining myself, but I'm not feeling particularly down because of the tough growing year, the slow start to the season. I think a lot of stuff on the allotment looks amazing, and this video will turn into just an allotment update because there's so much to show you. I have still been up, not much, but I've still been doing quite a lot of stuff and there's some bits to show you. But I'm just not feeling it, you know. I'm not really getting that excitement. Most of the time when I've got to come up to the allotment, it's a bit like, oh, I've got to go and do this, this and this today. For me, most of the time, maybe not most of the time, but at least 50% of the time, I'm normally quite excited to come up and go to the allotment. And when I'm here, I'm really smiling. The last few times that I've been at the allotment, I'm busy, I'm doing stuff, but I'm just scowling. You know, I'm kind of stomping around and pouting and just a bit it's just a bit of a struggle. You know, I'm not super into it, not super enjoying it. And I don't think there's much of a reason. I'm just busy. I'm just busy at life, and I could really do with a weekend of just sitting around doing nothing. That's all it is. But I really think people seem to enjoy seeing this and seeing how I'm very honestly feeling. So that's where we're at. I thought it would be good today, though, to do another little update because they do always put a bit of smile on my face. So let's go and have a look. It's got to that part of the day where you're just you know, I've been doing mowing and crawling around in vegetation today. My arm is on fire. Every bit of skin that's on show is so itchy, where I've been you know, rubbing up against grass and plants and, you know, little thistles and brambles and that kind of thing. I feel absolutely horrible, but it has been a very good day. Main progress today is just mowing and weeding. I've done every bed. I've given every bed a really good weed, and there's a lot of stuff that is starting to pick up. These cabbages looking okay. I think they've kind of started to heart, and I have a feeling with these, it's sort of this is the make or break time where actually I need to harvest them now early as just a small cabbage before they kind of explode and bolt. But the red cabbage especially, doing really, really well. I have given this a hoe, so all of that in there is cut off with the hoe, and it is going to die off, even though it doesn't look that good. The beetroot, they're probably ready to harvest today, actually. Let's take a few. It does always surprise me, and it shouldn't now. I've been doing this for years. It does always surprise me just how filming lifts the mood a little bit, you know. Yeah, these are only dinky, but I'm just glad to have any, to be honest. Normally I'm taking the first beetroot harvest much, much earlier in the year, and this is so slow. It just didn't want to start, so that's a win. There's lots of other harvests today as well. I took a harvest yesterday that was the first chilies, the first proper little crop of chilies, and I was going to say that felt really good, but to be honest, it didn't. It's exactly what I mean, you know. I'm just not really feeling it. It is nice to have, though. The thing is, the allotment wins, normally, they give me so much, you know. I'm beaming. I'm like, yes, I'm so happy. And now it's just a bit more oh yeah, that's cool. You know, that was nice. That was cool. Which is, it's still good, but it's lost that real kind of oomph for me. But I'm sure it will come back. It's just the waxing and waning of the mojo, isn't it? Something I have spent loads of time on recently, kind of this week, it is basically impossible to show you. It never comes across on camera, but I've just been tidying up. So I don't know if you remember, but there used to be a big compost bag there full of used compost. I've tucked that away, hidden that away. There's loads of stuff. This still looks like a mess. But believe it or not, there's quite a few bits that I've chucked in the shed. There's some new stuff in the bags there that I've kind of hidden away. Just lots and lots of going around, doing lots of tidying. There was stacks of pots that had just been building up over the front here. It just felt so good to get all of that sort of just tidied away and sorted out. Look at these though, the Kalima beans. I've just been doing this, hands and knees. So many. Look at all these green beans though. I mean, this is going to be a blanch-a-thon when we get home. Loads in here to blanch and preserve, but they're just amazing. They are one of my favourites, and they still taste just as good as they did last year. Really nice and fresh and sweet. I've got the hard hat up here today, and the ear defenders, and the big petrol strimmer, because you might remember, if you were watching the channel this time last year, I was actually helping out on my auntie and uncle's plot, sort of over that way, and this year I couldn't do it. I was I let them know pretty early on, and I was very apologetic, but I did just have to say I'm sorry. I've got the 2 plots here. I can barely keep up with this plot on a good week, and their plot has been completely left. They had a newborn last year, and yeah, completely understandable. But it's really funny actually. My uncle, he said, it was really weird. The council, when they took a picture of the grass, because the council did an inspection and sent them a bit of a warning letter. They were like, I don't know why they held the camera so low to the ground, to make the grass look so tall. And then he got to the allotment and he was like, oh no, the photograph was at a normal level. He just didn't realise how tall the grass had got. It was literally like just this one back there, way above head height, kind of 8 foot tall grass. So we were doing that today. It was mostly my uncle, to be honest, who did all the work, but I did help with a bit of raking up and getting all the tools going and that kind of thing. So that was really nice to help out. And while he was doing that, I was sort of on call. I had to go and run back and forth quite a lot, so it was nice to that was when I was like, not 100% sure what to do, let's just do a bit of weeding. And that turned into a bit of compulsive weeding, So it really is the case that every single bed has had a really good hoe, and it just, I was going to say, it looks so much better. Look at this. Oh, the courgettes that I planted out yesterday. This, I must say, actually, is not the only casualty. I was going to say the only casualty. There's another one. But most of them have been fine, actually. So all those courgettes from the last video, it's just... Oh, what can you do? There's a squash over here that has taken to its new home really, really well. And the other casualty, I tell you what, this was pulled up with a vicious determination. Some good growth over here. Oh, look at this though. Just classic. Grow your own veg, they say. It'll be fun, they say. I think that might be a mouse or something that's had a go at this. But this one... Look at this. I don't even know where it's gone, because I came up and this had been dug out, and the wilted little courgette or squash or whatever it was just next to it. So I put it back in, kind of tucked it in, came back the next day and it had been dug up again. So the foxes really don't like this one. They will not let me plant in there. But like I say, generally I'm really happy with the plot this year. All of these tomatoes growing really nicely. It's fantastic to see all of this nice bushy growth. It feels like summer. These Kalima beans and the borlotti beans, borlotti not looking so good, but the Kalima, the salads, everything is looking really nice. Now over on the Polytunnel, the big thing I want to show you, which is just like, yes, it's done. The door. It is very simple. Well, actually, it wasn't simple to put together. It is simple in design. It's just this little swinging door, and I've actually finally now put the screen mesh on here. The peace of mind that this has afforded, I just love it. It's a little bit janky. Get a little bit of a scrape. I actually made that look really easy on video. It just pulls tight, and then you've got a little latch which holds it in. The issue is, I'm so happy with this. It's now insect proof, butterfly proof. I was going to say not that I really need to make it butterfly proof, but it is really good if I have any cabbage seedlings. It's bird proof. I have seen birds coming in and out of here. They seem to be like really clever about not getting trapped and knowing how to get in and out, but it's now bird proof. The one thing that I'm not sure about is rodent proof, and that is because just at this all important little bit, there's a gap in here. If you can fit a finger through, you can probably fit a mouse through. And the issue is it just doesn't actually pull tight. If the door is pulled tight, it is fine. And I saw this little gap and I thought, oh, I've got a little offcut that I'll just staple onto the side. And then I realized, oh, it doesn't pull tight. So you've still got a gap there. What I need to do basically is just staple this little offcut, which I've kind of splayed out, which I think is really clever. I just need to unstaple that and put it on the inside of the door there, and then you'll have all of this kind of splayed out here. Just at the bottom here, I always had a really big gap between the bottom batten and the floor here, just for whatever reason, the quirk of the construction, and it's always seemed a little bit undefended. So I've never had too many problems, but with the rest of the offcuts, I've just stapled in another bit, and it kind of goes around the corner just for that extra level of protection, because the foxes have been getting extra nosy. I'm just really, really happy. Like, it's one of those things I didn't get around to finishing for ages, and it's just peace of mind. You know, it's just really nice. It feels nice and secure. This is kind of the main issue with the door. It doesn't really want to open much more than that. It gets caught on the paving slab, but it's fine. It's fine. You can sneak past. I have in here as well done just a load of organising at the back, and because I've got this screen door, basically I've turned this into a non-working door now, just permanently, because I never use it anyway. And one of the things about having two doors in the tunnel is that you can only close them properly from the outside. So it's really annoying if you have both doors open, because you always have to go outside the polytunnel, go all the way around, close the door, and then come all the way back round to come back in. And I just don't use it, basically. I never use it. It's always had stuff in front of it, so I thought, you know what, just screen the whole thing. And this was so simple. All I had to do was cut across one of the little mesh squares and then just slot it onto those bolts, which is awesome. And then I've just put a couple of staples in the four corners, so if I do need to take this out, it's very, very easy to do. Doesn't the polytunnel look good? It does look very, very good, and I am very, very excited for when we start taking these first tomato harvests. There's quite a few on the plants now. Come down here to this one, a black cherry. They're starting to do their thing, but they've still got a little way to go until I've got any ripe ones, I think. I just really love the door situation now, because I never have to change anything again. You know what? In fact, I think it's fair to say now, and I hadn't really thought about this, but the polytunnel is now finished. Structurally, there is nothing else I want to change about this. I can just leave that in there all winter. It doesn't matter if it's open or closed. You know, what I might want to do, I've just said that it's finished. I don't want to give myself a job. You know, this mesh at the top, I could replace this now with plastic in theory. But I think even in winter, it's probably good to have a bit of airflow. So that also means one less job, so who cares? This is a bit of a mess. This is meant to be my nice patio seating area, and believe it or not, I have done a lot of tidying around here, lots of sorting, but we'll blame the foxes for this one, because I've had to move all the potato pots, which are looking really nice and healthy. And I'll tell you what else looks nice. Oh, those sweet peas, absolutely fantastic. These Chelsea collection, I will definitely be growing these again. Absolutely wonderful. Really, really pleased with how this has come together, and it does look really nice, I think. I did finally get around to doing something else, which I've been putting off for a really long time, but a bit of proper weeding in here. I've removed that big cardboard. It wasn't just cardboard on here, actually. There was loads of other stuff, like hidden polycarbonate, stuff that just had to come out of the shed. But I've been rooting around in here, digging potatoes, and oh my goodness, the volunteer potatoes, King Edwards, they're in here and looking really good. I think the camera's freaking out a bit with the light there. It can't figure out what it wants to do, but some absolute whoppers. I'm hoping, because we've had so much water this year, not they've had so much water, we've had so much rain, I'm hoping these won't do the thing where they just explode as soon as they hit the pan, because they've not got enough water and they just absorb all the water in the saucepan. I've not got particularly high hopes, because every other time we've grown in the ground, they've done exactly that, and the ones that I grew in pots did that because I didn't water them enough. So not great, but you know, fingers crossed. Hopefully they will be much nicer. Over on this part of the plot, still not really much going on. The parsnips look amazing. So that is very, very nice. You can see the very carefully considered fox defences there, just chuck a bit of wire on. And I was having a little look earlier, and some of these plums, this might be a green gauge actually, but some of these are looking quite good. I do still need to prune these though this summer. It is one thing I still haven't done. But I must say, generally speaking, the to-do list now, it's not got much on it. And it's a bit weird, because normally any stress or anxiety or like dissatisfaction I have with the allotment, any of the bad feeling on the allotment is normally because of that to-do list. And it's like, oh, I've got all these things to do, do and it's weighing me down and I just want to get them done. And that's often where a lot of, any kind of allotment stress comes from. And at the moment, this lack of enthusiasm, it's not really coming from that. It's not, so it doesn't feel as exciting and hurrah as it normally would, having the to-do list basically done, Something I did want to mention is that I'm actually feeling pretty proud of myself, because despite, however I've been feeling, I have still generally really been making a conscious effort to make the time for the allotment, because it's very easy when you're in a bit of a slump to let the allotment go, and then you start to get compounded interest on all of the allotment problems, So at least at the moment I've been coming up and I've not been loving it, I've not been feeling it. But when the mojo returns, I am going to be so grateful that I kept on top of things, wasn't only coming up when the enthusiasm was there, and was kind of, frowning through it for a little while, because it means there's so much fewer problems. There's going to be so many fewer problems for me in the future. And we're kind of flirting with the topic of depression. I think it's something I've discussed on the channel quite a lot before, and I know I'm not depressed because as soon as I tip into what I consider depression for me, I'm not coming to the allotment. You'd have to drag me kicking and screaming. When depression hits me personally, it saps any care for the allotment. The reason that I'm still coming up is because I do still care. I'm still very much invested in it, and I care about future me, future JB as well. I keep trying to think of the best way to describe this, but maybe it's not that much of a mystery. Just a bit out of my thoughts. I think that's the best kind of way that I can describe it. Just not really feeling myself, just tired, overworked. I think that's really what it is. But like I say, I just wanted to let everyone know that's the state of play at the moment, because I know it's very helpful for a lot of people to hear. Thank you ever so much for joining me. An extra special thank you to all of my Chili Pepper tier patrons: Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, Andrew, Sarah, Dorcasaur, Angela, Louise, Andre and Brett. Hopefully I'll see you again next time when I'm feeling a little bit better about things and a little bit more like myself.